Mark Rogers TV with not so instant analysis of Oklahoma over Texas 29-24, but the game's only been over for about 2 hours and wanted to gather in some notes and take in some other games as well. So Sooners win at 29-24. Baker Mayfield had said earlier this week, hey, let's calm down. Yes, I don't like the performance against Iowa State. It was a bit of a shocker, but we made some mistakes. We didn't approach the game as we should. We took off some series. We weren't urgent. We didn't have that sense of urgency throughout the game. Thought it was a typical Big 12 game with a zillion possessions. Iowa State held onto the ball, and we as an offense didn't take control of each possession in the second half, and it cost us. But hey, we still have the conference championship ahead of us if we take care of business, and therefore the college football playoff. Yes, the loss will not kill Oklahoma, but they still have the difficult games lying ahead in the Big 12. Let's get back to this one. And I would love to hear from Oklahoma and Texas fans concerning their football teams. So you know your teams. You know what you see week to week. I watch all the big games, as you can tell here on my channel. Subscribe to it right here at Mark Rogers TV. And throughout the week, as you can see, if you're checking us out for the first time, I talk to the best bloggers and broadcasters and writers in the business in college football across the nation. And it's worth a while, and we need to hear from you as well. Oklahoma wins at 29-24. Tremendous first quarter performance, mostly first half performance from the Sooners on both sides of the ball. Baker Mayfield with 179 passing yards. And really, he didn't take off the second half. He was still making most of the right plays, although he threw a bad pick and could have thrown 3 interceptions. Others were dropped. But yeah, $179 in the first quarters. He came out slinging 17 of 27 on the day for 302, 2 touchdowns, and the 1 interception that was held on to. Trey Sermon in replacing Adams at running back. He's a workmanlike guy. He pushed forward on a number of carries to convert second and third downs into first downs. So a workmanlike effort from Trey Sermon. Nothing big in the rushing attack there. 20 carries for 96 yards. Mark Andrews, of course, one of Baker Mayfield's main targets, caught 4 for 104. The difference in this game was basically the Oklahoma defense was what we saw for the most part, except for Sam Ehlinger getting things cranked up in the second half at times on a couple drives. This was basically the Oklahoma defense we saw in Columbus. 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. That doesn't speak to the Sooners gang tackling, being in the right spots, not allowing Texas to get to the perimeter, keeping Ehlinger basically contained except for those couple scoring drives. And Agbania Okoronkwo is just a menace. He's a very active player, disrupts the offense. He had 5 quarterback hurries and a number of other times in which he pushed the pile or pushed the pocket into Ehlinger's face and forced him to go elsewhere and run into another Texas player. He's just a tremendous player. Oklahoma led this thing 20-0, but Texas would not let it get out of hand. Sam Ehlinger is not a precision passer at this point in his career as a freshman. He's a gamer, though. They noted this on several occasions. He will lower the helmet and the shoulder pad and take on big defenders and gain additional yardage. That converted a number of third downs as well for Texas on offense. 22 carries for 106 yards for Ehlinger and the touchdown. 19 of 39 speaks to him being a bit scattershot, but the Oklahoma secondary was not allowing Texas receivers to run wild in the secondary. No interceptions from Ehlinger. And little Jordan Humphrey, this guy's an exceptional athlete. Needs to get the football more. He caught 4 for 56. Then he had a tremendous play that would have made the Hail Mary situation much more probable or possible for Oklahoma or for Texas at the end of the game. If you've missed the play, you got to see about the 4th to the last play of the game, in which Humphrey, unfortunately for Texas, stepped out of bounds, didn't reestablish himself inbounds, high pointed the football behind an Oklahoma defender and brought it back to himself. The ball was in the air, and he brought it in with one hand and tightrope the sideline, but he was out of bounds before he made the leap. That would have made the Hail Mary possibility at the end of the game. Instead, Texas had to go crazy with the running around and throwing all the lateral plays because Ellinger, there was no way he was going to make it 70 yards to the end zone on the final play of the game. Chris Warren III, 6 carries, 4 yards, and he is a tough, hard-nosed running back that fights for every inch typically, and Oklahoma's defense was exceptional in this game. Texas as well, once they gave up the big first quarter to Baker Mayfield and company, they were pretty exceptional in this game. We gave you Sermon's stats at 96 yards on 20 carries. He didn't get loose. Baker Mayfield in the running game converted a couple third downs, but other than that, Malik Jefferson was his typical self, 11 total tackles. Deshaun Elliott, we talked about him preseason being a breakout star in college football. We've known over the past year or two that he's been one of the better defensive players in the Big 12, but he is a legit star defensive player in college football. All right, Oklahoma, Texas. Longhorns probably the best 3-3 team in the nation. I'm thinking anybody else. I'm not coming up with anybody else that's 3-3 right now that is better than Texas. And they may, at this time next week, be the best 3-4 team in college football because they take on Oklahoma State next week. For OU, 5-1 now, and with a win-loss to Iowa State, of course, in the Big 12. They take on Kansas State, the Wildcats, with a rough one against TCU today. Mark Rogers TV, subscribe to my YouTube channel for the very best in college football coverage, analysis, not just from myself, but from the best bloggers and broadcasters in college football. And basically, we get analysis from you if you check out the comments section and you see from video to video, some of the best discussion goes on in the comments section. I try to get to as many comments as possible, but sometimes you guys get after it and debate and discuss college football, and I love to read the comments. So check out the channel, and we will see you next time with another instant analysis from another big Saturday in college football.